North Korea Bible Prophecy Regarding Trump Administration by Dallas James. Copyright 2017 by Dallas James. All rights reserved. This book or any portion thereof may not be reproduced or used in any manner whatsoever without the express written permission of the publisher, except for the use of brief quotations in a book review or scholarly journal. Dedication: a memorial to her. Mark 14:9. And with special thanks to Melian. Forward: there are many historically fulfilled prophecies in the Bible that will come alive and have an end-time application. Ancient Babylon becomes the spiritual Babylon and economic system of the last days. In Revelation, this economic system is called the whoredom or fornication between the nations. And another messenger did follow, saying, First fall, second fall, did Babylon, the great city, because of the wine of the wrath of her whoredom she has given to all nations to drink. Revelation 14:8. This verse also shows us the duplication of these events of the past and for the future. So also with the day of the Lord, which I have written about in chapter 1. The Bible likens world events that will come on the stage of history to leaves that will grow on the prophetic tree. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When its branch is still tender and puts out leaves, you know that summer is near. So also when you will see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doorway. Matthew 24:32, 33 inches. My other recent book, USA Bible Prophecy, I had identified the east wind strikes as most likely referring to China. Upon further study, it may also refer to North Korea. Time will tell how these leaves will appear in history upon the prophetic horizon. They may apply themselves separately or may even apply as together. For example, if China were to come forward and say, while we object to North Korea having nuclear weapons, nevertheless, we cannot permit it to be wiped off the face of the earth. So in this regard we will have to join with North Korea in its defense. Revision update note: August 11, 17. The very next day after I had speculated what China might do, China declared today it would do just that. If such a political situation would arise, then the East wine prophecy would apply itself to both countries. I am writing this now before any war has broken out between the United States and North Korea, which many fear is the direction we are heading. Some time back we had a blood moon which many had speculated was prophetic. Yet at that time the sun did not turn into darkness. I speculate now that no war will come until after the coming solar eclipse that will take place on the 21st of this month. The sun will be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the elder and manifest day of the Lord appears. Acts 2-20. Pay close attention to the East wine prophecy in chapter 4 that may come to pass and be a commencement of the day of the Lord. I have also added an update of a prophecy by the Apostle Paul that gives clarity to exactly when these events of prophecy will take place. Dallas James, August 10, 2017. rlp@mail.com. http://the-holy-covenant.org. Scriptures from the Holy Bible, Urim Thummim version by permission of the translator. Special update note: July 13, 18. This book has now been greatly updated and expanded with my new expanded edition. If you have purchased this book, then contact me for a free copy except paperback of this new edition. Special update note: December 7, 19. I had written here before, if I am wrong on this, then we could have a 2-year period of negotiations that could bring us to 2020. As I write here today, North Korea is stepping away from talks with the United States and the leaders are calling each other Okad Man and Otard. Chapter 1. The D-Day of the Lord. A lesser day of YHWH precedes the day of YHWH. There is a literary device used in the Bible when a term is repeated, and it's called a duplication. In the book Figures of Speech used in the Bible by E.W. Bullinger, the subject of the day of YHWH is shown in Scripture takes place in a twofold plan, and this is also proven in the fact that it is stated the sun will be darkened twice also. Rev 6-12. And I saw when he opened the sixth seal, and lo, a great earthquake came, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Joel 2:31. The sun will be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and the terrible day of YHWH comes. Zephaniah 1:14. The great day of YHWH is near, it is near, and comes swiftly, even the voice of the day of YHWH. The mighty man will cry there bitterly. Joel 1:15. Alas for the day! For the day of YHWH is at hand, and as a destruction from the Almighty will it come. The annihilation decreed will overflow in righteousness, a duplication also. Isa 10:21-23. The remnant will return, even the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty Elohim. Because though your people Israel are as the sand of the sea, still a remnant of them will return. The annihilation decreed will overflow with righteousness, because Adonai YHWH of hosts will ordain an annihilation, even decreed for the center of all the land. Joel 2-3. A supernatural fire devours before them, and behind them a flame burns. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yes, and nothing will escape them. Isa 50:3-5. Our Elohim will come and will not keep silent. A supernatural fire will devour before him, and it will be very stormy all around him. He will call to the cosmos from above and to the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather my saints together to me, those that have made a covenant with me by the sacrifices of righteousness. Isa 51:3-5. Because YHWH will comfort Zion, he will comfort all her waste places. And he will make her wilderness as Eden, and her desert as the garden of YHWH. Joy and gladness will be found there, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Listen to me, my people, and give ear to me, O my nation, for a law will proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. My righteousness is near. My deliverance has gone out, and my arms will judge the people. The isles will wait upon me, and on my arm will they trust. Isa 49:8-10. This is what YHWH declares: in an acceptable time I have heard you, and in a day of deliverance I have helped you. And I will guard you, and employ you for a covenant pledge of the people, to become fixed in the earth, to cause to inherit the deserted heritages. That you may say to the prisoners, go out. To them that are in darkness, reveal yourselves. They will feed in the ways, and their pastures will be in all barren places. They will not hunger or thirst, neither will the heat or sun stricken them, because he that has mercy on them will lead them, even by the springs of water will he guide them. Isa 59-20, 21. And the kinsman redeemer will come to Zion, and to them that turn from transgression in Jacob, declares YHWH. As for me, this is my covenant with them, declares YHWH. My spirit that is on you and my words that I have put in your mouth will not depart out of your mouth, nor out of the mouth of your seed, nor out of the mouth of your seed's seed, declares YHWH, from now and for the ages. 61-3. Arise, shine, because your light is come, and the glory of YHWH is risen upon you. Look, darkness will cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but YHWH will arise on you, and his glory will be seen on you. And the Gentiles will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. Isa 58-11, 12. And YHWH will guide you continually, and satisfy your life in drought, and your bones he invigorates, and you will be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not. And they that will be of you will build the old waste places, you will raise up the foundations of many generations. And you will be called, the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to live in. Chapter 2. Understanding Biblical Prophecy. The chronological tree. To properly grasp the meaning of the times in which we live, one must comprehend the basic framework of prophecy as outlined in the Scriptures. Once this is done, a clear picture can emerge as to how we view the future. It is not our job to place the leaves on the tree, but rather to watch them grow, as Christ taught in the parable of the fig tree in Matthew 24. Thus the subject of prophecy can be divided into two parts, one being the tree of chronology, and two, all the prophetical statements which will have their placement on that tree. When this concept is understood, biblical prophecy becomes clear, and our admonishment to watch events profound. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. Mark 13-37 KJV. The chronological tree, as recorded in the first two chapters of Genesis, God employed 7 days for creation. This model of the 7-day week is further explained in I Peter 3-8. 1 day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day. Going back to the original model, we find the week divided into 6 work days for creation, followed by a 7th day of rest. This rest is later referred to as a Sabbath, which can either be a day, year, or 1,000-year day, is also stated in Psalms 90-4. See also Leviticus chapters 23 and 25. The 7,000-year plan of God comprises 6 days followed by the 7th day or Sabbath. This last period of time is referred to in Revelation 20-2 at the end of a 6,000-year period, just after Jesus Christ has returned to earth, as stated in verse 4. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Within the Bible is documented exactly 4,000 years of history to the Messiah of Daniel, and there are prophetic and historical indications for the 2,000 years remaining that completes the first 6 days of human history. This is shown in the Scriptures as follows: 2107 = Adam through Abraham's 99th year. Gen 17-24 430 = Abraham's 99th year to first year of Exodus. X 12-40, 41 480 = Exodus to year 4 of Solomon's rule. I Kings 6-136 = remaining years of Solomon's rule. I Kings 11-42 393 = rule of 19 Judaic kings. As 4 1-8 = 390. ICHR 11-17 = 31 = period of harvest after temple's ruin. GR 40 9-1270 = Babylonian captivity and sabbatical rest. GR 25-11 12 483 = 69 weeks of sabbatical periods. Dan 9 24-27 4,000 = total number of years to Messiah of Daniel. The remaining 2,000 years of history to the return of Jesus Christ is carefully put forth by Dr. E. L. Martin in his research paper titled Chronology, The Key to Prophetic Understanding, page 10. If one reckons the first 69 weeks of Daniel to end with Messiah's birth in 3 BC, then adding 2,000 years shows the millennium would logically start in AD 1998, a short 8 years from this writing. But if one takes Christ's baptism in AD 27 as the terminus of the 4,000 years of Old Testament chronology, then one should add a further 30 years to reach AD 2027. Before Christ will begin to rule on earth. This latter date is most interesting because the last time a command was given to rebuild Jerusalem with its walls, as Daniel said would occur in the 70 weeks prophecy, was in AD 1537, when the Turkish ruler Suleiman gave such an order. If one can see an end-time fulfillment of the 70 weeks prophecy in this historical event, it is obvious that 490 years from AD 1537 is indeed AD 2027, exactly 2,000 years from the time of Christ's baptism. The completion of the chronological tree of Scripture can be seen in the sabbatical year cycles. This applies itself to the nation of Israel and is referred to in Leviticus 25 and 26. The number 40 has prime significance in prophetic interpretation. It is the number of trial and represents one generation, as stated in Hebrews 3-9. 10. Indeed, Christ mentioned that the start of the end time would occupy a period of 40 years. See Mark 13-30. The number 7 also has the meaning of completeness as illustrated in Scripture. This is an important point because the year 1988 was a sabbatical year, which was exactly 280 sabbatical cycles from the time Christ fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah in Luke 4:16-21. Thus we have 7x40, or 1960 years. There is now indicated 40 years left for the fulfillment of the end time period known as the end of the age. Matthew 24:3. This is a period of exactly 2,000 years from the time of Christ's baptism. How can it be known if the year 1988 was a sabbatical year? This is an important point, especially if one is determining the period known as the end time. Dr. E.L. Martin has also summarized 2 historical studies by Professor Wakeholder of Hebrew Union College in Cincinnati. They are titled The Calendar of Sabbatical Cycles During the Second Temple and Early Rabbinic Period, pp. 153-196. and the timing of messianic movements and the calendar of sabbatical cycles, pp. 201-218. We are told by I Maccabees 6-49 that Judas Maccabee's defeat at Bethzer was in a sabbatical year, and this can be dated to the sabbatical year from autumn of 163 to autumn 162 BC. 2. Josephus, the Jewish historian, shows the murder of Simon the Hasmonean as happening in the sabbatical year of autumn 135 to autumn 134 BC. 3. Josephus shows Herod's conquest of Jerusalem as occurring in the sabbatical year of 37 to 36 BC. 4. King Agrippa I recited the section of Deuteronomy which a king was required to do as associated with the sabbatical year, Deut 31:10-13. He performed it at a time which historically shows that Agrippa's sabbatical year was AD 41 to 42. 5. A papyrus document written in Aramaic has recently been found in Palestine which is dated to the second year of Nero, and it says that that year was a sabbatical year. Thus, AD 55 to 56 was sabbatical. 6. A reference in the 2nd century Jewish work called the Seder Olam can be interpreted as showing the temple at Jerusalem being destroyed in a sabbatical year that would have been AD 69 to 70. 7. Dated documents have been found concerning the Bar Kokhba revolt of the Jews against the Romans which show that the year AD 132 to 133 was also a sabbatical year. 8. The ruins of an ancient synagogue have recently been uncovered which have a date, in a mosaic, for the Jewish year 4000, and that it was the second year of a sabbatical cycle. This answers to AD 237 to 238. 9. There is a reference in the Jewish Talmud 797b, that the Messiah will release the world from its bondage of corruption in the year after 4291 of the Jewish calendar. Since it was believed this would occur in a sabbatical year, this reference becomes important though the prophecy did not occur because the year after 4291 was AD 531 to 532, and it was sabbatical. The interesting thing about these sabbatical years is the fact that they are all in proper sequence. This gives the historian a great deal of confidence that they are correct. To summarize then, we have the chronological tree that employs a plan of 7,000 years, or 1 week, a day representing 1,000 years. The Bible demonstrates exactly 4,000 years followed by prophetic indications for the remaining 2,000 years to the return of Jesus Christ to this earth. The year for the completion of the end of the age is 2027. This date can be calculated 3 separate ways and each way yields the year 2027. The first way is the strict biblical record and the prophetic cycles. The second way is by calculating the historical information to rebuild the temple by Suleiman in AD 1537, and the third way is by adding up sabbatical year cycles which are verified by historical evidence. This brings us squarely to the period referred to by Jesus as this generation in Mark 13-30. Verily I say unto you, that this generation shall not pass, till all these things be done. The leaves on the tree. The events of end-time prophecy can be likened to leaves that affix themselves to the prophetical tree of chronology. The uniqueness of end-time prophetic interpretation is in the statement of Christ to watch world events. As concerning the time of his second coming, the chronological tree is very accurate, even to within a year. Is not this deduced from the comment in Matthew 24-36, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Christ said it is not possible to know the exact time for his arrival on any particular day or hour, but he did not say it could not be known to the year or perhaps a month. The year we now know is indicated and within our reach. To those who do not understand this chronology will find themselves searching for the time, but those that understand these scriptures will not be looking for the time but rather the events of prophecy to unfold. We can however fine-tune our end-time chronology by studying certain sequences of events. Zechariah, chapters 12-14 for example, is a sequential prophecy for the nation of Israel. When these events start to occur, then we can better understand how the end time will unfold. Let us now look at a few of the leaves that soon will be appearing on the tree. Chapter 3. Prophetic events. Prophetic events to watch for universal events. 1. Acts 3:19-21. A restoration of the truth of God given to the world before the second advent of Christ. 2. Matthew 24-4, 5. False Christs and deception to be prevalent. 3. Matthew 24-6, 7. A period of general wars, famines, diseases and earthquakes. 4. Joel 2-31. Cosmic disturbances before the day of the Lord. 5. Mark 13-25. Cosmic disturbances associated with the second advent. 6. Mark 13:10. The gospel to be given to the world. 7. Daniel 12:4. At the start of end time this prophecy to be revealed to the wise. 8. Daniel 11:2-12. 4. This whole prophecy relates to the end time. Notebook of Truth starts with history near end of 6th century. A. 4 major wars to appear within Persian Empire. B. Succeeded by a mighty king of Greece, Alexander the G. C. Alexander's kingdom divided into 4 segments. D. Totality of vision for end time. See also Dan 7 and 8-9. World changes to occur for establishment of kingdom. A. Daniel 8-24, 25. Military reductions. B. Daniel 11:43, new political and economic systems. C. Revelation 18, worldwide prosperity. 10. Isaiah 24, worldwide destruction of civilization. 11. Matthew 24:30, the second coming of Jesus Christ. Events for Israel. 1. Zechariah 10:6. House of Israel Ephraim to be re-established from the north country in the land of Israel. See also Ezekiel 37:2. Zechariah 10:7-12, Israel to occupy the land of Gilead Jordan. 3. Psalm 72:8, Israel to have influence beyond its present borders. 4. Zechariah 12:2, the nations of the world to come against Jerusalem in a siege. 5. Zechariah 12:8, 9, Israel to be victorious against all the nations of the world. 6. Joel 2-3. 2-25, a locust plague to devastate Israel that will be followed by God restoring them. 7. Zechariah 12:10, a large conversion of Jews to Christianity in the nation of Israel. 8. Zechariah 12:2-5, the overthrow of idols and false religion in Israel. 9. Isaiah 44:28, a leader in Iran, Cyrus, to help Jews build a temple. See also Matthew 24-15:10, Isaiah 13:8, a strong leader to emerge in Israel called the shepherd. See also Malachi 4-5:11, Revelation 11:3, 2 witnesses proclaim message for 3.5 years. 12. Zechariah 11:14, a civil war to occur in Israel. 13. Zechariah 13:8, 2/3 of nation of Israel will die. 14. Zechariah 14:4. Christ will come to the aid of Israel and his return to the Mount of Olives. 15. Zechariah 14:4. Mount of Olives splits in two. Event for the Gentile nations. 1. Psalms 83:7. A nation of Palestine Philistines to exist. 2. Daniel 7:12. 3 empires succeeded by a fourth. Verses 7, 8. At the end time all four empires to emerge on earth. See Daniel 7-17, 18:3, Daniel 8-8, 9. Little horn equals the beast. Daniel 7-7, 8, which is the fourth kingdom or iron kingdom. Daniel 2-44, Daniel 7-12, 17. When Iron Kingdom appears in two divisions there will be a revival of Babylon, Iraq, Medes and Persians, Iran and Greece. 5. Psalms 83, 10 nations to surround Israel. Beast powers to emerge in Middle East. King of North equal Iran, King of South equal Iraq. 6. Isaiah 13 and 14, never fulfilled in history. 7. Jeremiah 50 and 51. The Medes Iran to destroy Babylon, Iraq. 8. John 2-18, 22. The kingdom of the Antichrist will last for the last 3.5 years before the return of Jesus Christ to earth. 9. Isaiah 34. Punishment on heathen at the end of the age. Second coming of Jesus Christ. Matthew 24:30. Return of Christ to earth. See also Zechariah 14-4. Acts 1-11, I Thessalonians 5-2, 3. For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. Job 19-25 KJV. Prophetic note: Matthew 24-22 indicates that there could be a shortening of events. By comparing Revelation with Daniel we discover that the Great Tribulation could be shortened to a length of only 45 days. This could adjust the return of Christ to around the time of 2024. For detailed prophetic information please email to request my larger book on prophecy titled, Walking in Eden, A New End Time Scenario. Chapter 4. The East Wind Prophecy. There is a dating in the Bible of the day or time of trouble that has application for the end times. When this term is connected to an east wind, we are given the greatest of clues about what will come to pass in world history. OYHWH, be gracious to us. We have waited for you, be you there every sunrise, our deliverance also in the time of trouble. At the sound of the roaring the people fled. At the lifting up of yourself the nations were scattered. Isaiah 33-2, 3. O the hope of Israel, the Savior in time of trouble, why should you be as a foreigner in the land, and as a wayfaring man that turns aside to lodge for a night? Jeremiah 14-8. Compare this verse with the Lord foreign work which I write about in my book City of Waters. But the salvation of the righteous is of YHWH. He is their place of safety in the time of trouble. Psalms 37-39. Note the end time connection with the place of safety. And at that time will Michael stand up, the great prince that stands for the children of your people, and there will be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time your people will be delivered, everyone that will be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth will awake, some to age-lasting life, and some to shame and age-lasting aversion. And they that are wise will shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars for the ages of the ages. But you, O Daniel, shut up the words, and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many will run to and fro, and knowledge will be increased. Daniel 12:1-4. With the above verses now in mind, let's look in the book of Job, to a prophecy he made concerning an east wind in connection with the time of trouble, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war. 38:24. By what way is the light parted, that scatters the east wind upon the earth? Job 38-23, 24. Notice carefully how we have the time of trouble connected with the east wind. in reference to a day of battle and war. In the end times, this east wind refers to either China or North Korea, or perhaps both. Now in this same verse we have an east wind that is scattered or perhaps destroyed. This could very well come about if the United States finds itself in a war with North Korea and uses nuclear weapons. I find it very interesting with the wording "the light parted that scatters." Could this be referring to the use of a nuclear weapon? If I am right, then this may very well be the first battle and war in the time of trouble, or simply the end times of Bible prophecy. We may even have some more details about this nuclear war in the book of Job. Terrors take hold on him as waters. A storm wind steals him away in the night. The east wind carries him away, and he departs. And as a storm hurls him out of his place, and it casts at him, and does not spare, from its hand he diligently flees. People will clap their hands at him, and will hiss him out of his place. Job 27:20-23. Note that the above verses are not in chronological order, so this verse could be indicating North Korea will succeed in the first nuclear attack that would hurl the island of Guam out of its place. I see the term storm wind as perhaps being from a nuclear weapon as opposed to a natural storm. If this is the case, then the United States certainly would respond with its full arsenal of atomic weapons that would scatter or destroy North Korea east wind upon or off the face of the earth. Now there may be even further refinement and identification that the United States is one of the opposing forces in this coming war by referring to our national symbol, the eagle. They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity will proceed from themselves. Their horses also are swifter than the leopards, and are more fierce than the evening wolves, and their horsemen will spread themselves, and their horsemen will come from far. They will fly as the eagle that hurries to eat. Wholly for violence it will come in, their faces swallowing up the east wind, and it will gather as the sand of captivity. And they will scoff at the kings, and the rulers will be a scorn to them. They will mock every stronghold. For they will pile up earth, and seize it. Then will his mind change, and he will pass over and offend, imputing this as power to his Elohim. Are you not from antiquity, O YHWH Elohim, my Holy One? We will not die. O YHWH, you have ordained them for judgment. And, Almighty Elohim, you have established them for correction. Habakkuk 1:7-9. How clear this is that the eagle representing the United States will destroy North Korea. And the verse mentions a captivity and a scoffing at kings and rulers. Perhaps some of the leaders will survive the attack and be captured. They certainly would be put on trial for their war crimes. The part about his mind changing could be the Trump administration changing course on their actions or plans after conquering North Korea. I see there may be some prophecy of our times concerning China after this war with North Korea. The ships of Tarshish did sing of you in your market, and you were replenished and made very glorious in the midst of the seas. Your rowers have brought you into great waters. The east wind has broken you in the midst of the seas. Your wealth and your wares, your merchandise, your mariners and your pilots, strengtheners of your breach and the traders of your merchandise, and all your men of war who are in you, and in all your assembly that is among you, fall into the heart of the seas in the day of your fall. Ezekiel 27:25-27. This verse I believe is about an attack by China on the United States that will end our trading posterity with other nations such as Russia. See my book USA Bible Prophecy. This would take place at a time after our coming war with North Korea. This attack by China is also mentioned in the book of Hosea. Though he is fruitful among his kinship, an east wind will come. The wind of YHWH will come up from the uninhabited land, and his spring will become dry, and his fountain will be dried up. He will plunder the treasure of all precious vessels. Hosea 13-15. The Trump family could have some family kin of Eastern European heritage, So this part of the verse saying he is fruitful among his kinship could be an indication of commerce with Russia that will take place before the East wine comes. We are certainly entering perilous times in world history, and I believe prophecy is coming alive before our very eyes. For my larger book on Bible prophecy, please read Walking in Eden, a new end-time scenario update, March 22, 18, from my new book DPRK. USA Peace Prophecy of the Apostle Paul. As the world awaits a meeting of the two leaders of North Korea and the United States, there is much hope for a peaceful resolution to the North Korean nuclear missile problem. The Apostle Paul and others wrote about these times in the pages of the Holy Bible, and we can know what the outcome of these current affairs will be. For when the world will declare peace and security, then comes sudden destruction. Christians can know in advance by their belief in the scriptures exactly when the war between North Korea and the United States will take place. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write to you, because you know exactly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night. Because when they will say, peace and security, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as birth pains upon a woman with child. And they will not escape. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. You are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. I Thessalonians 5:1-5. Note in the above verse that the coming meeting between the leaders of North Korea and the United States will most likely produce a peace agreement that includes a security agreement to disarm nuclear weapons. When this happens, something then goes terribly wrong and war and destruction breaks out. The prophecy is very clear here, so that would be the start of the first day of the Lord. He wanders abroad for food, saying, where is it? He knows that the day of darkness is ready at his hand. Trouble and anguish will make him afraid. They will prevail against him, as a king ready to the battle. Job 15:23, 24. The great day of YHWH is near, it is near, and comes swiftly, even the voice of the day of YHWH. The mighty man will cry there bitterly. That day is a day of anger, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wastes and desolation, a day of darkness and calamity, a day of the cloud mass and thick clouds, a day of the ram's horn and alarm against the fortified cities, and against the high towers. Zephaniah 1:14-16. Blow you the ram's horn in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, because the day of YHWH comes, for it is close at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of the cloud mass and of thick darkness, as the dawn spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong. There has not ever been the like, neither will be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A supernatural fire devours before them, and behind them a flame burns. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yes, and nothing will escape them. Joel 2:1-3. Update. The Summit Prophecy Update, May 24, 18. Now that the Singapore Summit is cancelled, either one of two things will happen. Either another meeting will be set up, or war will break out soon. The prophecy does not literally mention a summit, only they will say so. Literally, the next step in the prophecy is WAR. Special update, May 27, 18. Having read the word beckon used in two other translations of Isaiah 13:2, I have changed the translation of the UTV to read, lift yourself up a banner on the high hill, exalt the voice to them, beckon them on, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I believe the above verse is a prophecy that has come to pass today. The meeting at the DMZ today is for setting up the summit so Kim and Trump may go into the gates of the nobles. How clearly now we see the leaves forming today on the prophetic tree. Update June 2, 18. As history unfolds in this before our very eyes, I must note that the prophecy does not state that it will take place with Kim and Trump, only it says, hey, will enter into the eights of the nobles. This actually happened yesterday in the White House when President Trump had the second leader in command from North Korea in his Oval Office. As of this update, we do have a summit of Kim and Trump in Singapore set for June 12th. But even if this changes or is called off, we already have this part of the prophecy fulfilled. It is after this part of the prophecy the nations are gathered, and the angel of the Lord is inspecting an army for battle. We must also note the time period from when peace and security is talked about in the world, that the destruction will come utterly. If this happens, then we can state with certainty that the first day of the Lord has taken place. More to think about. I have written in the past of some chronological indications for a date of 2027 as nearing the end of the age. The scripture also said the time may be cut short too. We are looking for a prophetic period of end-time prophecy for 7 years. If the start of the 7-year period is at the time of the first seal, then this may be happening now. If 2027 would be the date, then perhaps we may be 2 years off. If that would be the case, and if prophecy needs an agreement signed, then this all could be a 2-year process. Personally, I feel this may be coming to pass now, and war is just around the corner. We won't have long to wait to find out what actually happens in history. If I am wrong on this, then we could have a 2-year period of negotiations that could bring us to 2020. In Isaiah chapter 13, verses 1-8, we are given very specific details of the Kim-Trump summit that will produce the peace and security proclamation. But as the world is declaring a time of great peace, the world is suddenly finding itself in a great war. This is the beginning of the first day of the Lord. Then starting in verse 9 forward is the time of the final day of the Lord with all that that entails. Let now examine these first 8 verses for what will soon prepare in history. The oracle of Babylon that Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Lift yourself up a banner on the high hill, exalt the voice to them, beckon them on that they may go into the gates of the nobles. The first information we are given is that the meetings held at the DMZ of both countries who raise flags or place banners will be held in the mountain or hilltop region. The next detail of exalted voices must indicate that this meeting will have an excessive amount of dialogue. Perhaps the meetings will extend for a number of days. The detail of beckon them on is obvious. The leaders will be going into the eights of the nobles. A North Korean leader would even be invited to the White House for further talks. Eventually a peace and security proclamation will come about. I have commanded my consecrated ones, I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even those that exalt in majesty. Lift yourself up a banner on the high hill, exalt the voice to them, beckon them on that they may go into the gates of the nobles. The consecrated ones, I believe, refers to the angel of the Lord entering world affairs and also empowering those this angel has chosen for service. He has a bow in his hand but finds his ROWS on earth. See Rev 6:2 in my book on the first seal. This would also include he mighty ones. Note particularly those that exalt in majesty. President Trump, being a billionaire, is a personification of this. Think of his surroundings in his home at Trump Tower. The details of this Bible prophecy is simply amazing. A voice of a multitude in the mountains, a likeness of a numerous people, a voice of noise from the kingdoms of nations who are gathered. YHWH of hosts inspecting an army for battle. Now the prophecy here shows us that the peace and security proclaimed in the world is suddenly broken and war breaks out. Note that the angel of the Lord is even doing an inspection of the armies. They come from a far country, from far in the horizon, even YHWH, and the weapons of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. Far on the horizon of North Korea, nuclear bombers are now sent to destroy the whole land. This would be required as North Korea has a multitude of mobile launchers dispersed all over the country. Because the day of YHWH is at hand. It will come as a destruction from shadow. This war is the start of the first day of the Lord, and note that it has been written in the news, that North Korea is the worst country in the world for the persecution of Christians. Thus it is the first country that the angel of the Lord causes destruction on. Therefore will all hands be faint, and everyone's heart will melt, and they will be terrified, pangs and sorrows will take hold of them. They will be in pain as a woman in childbirth, they will be amazed one at another, their faces will be as flames. Note the last part, that their faces will be as flames. A nuclear wasteland will sear the flesh of thousands of people, untold terror and pangs and sorrows. But this first day of the Lord is nothing compared to the final day of the Lord, because starting in verse 9 and forward is the final judgment on the whole world. Watch, the day of YHWH comes, cruel both with fury and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he will destroy the sinful out of it, because the stars of the cosmos and the constellations will not give their light, the sun will be darkened when it rises, and the moon will not cause its light to shine. And I will punish the world for their badness, and the guilty for their depravity. The end.